Okay, let's look at the video block, but let's also look at it in context with how you can also use it in a section. In terms of adding a video block, you press add block, pick a video, and then let's go and bring in some content. Here we go. This is about an 11-second clip that we've got going on. Just get this uploaded to the site. Now, a couple of things to note. So uploading the video, we then have 30 minutes of free storage that we can have. Should you want to upload content and then use a third party, you can then use YouTube or Vimeo Pro for that. But in this example, we're just going to upload it directly into the system. So a couple of things that you can go and do. The first is you could then add a thumbnail. So I can toggle this on. I could then put my own thumbnail over the top of it that then takes this away. So you could do that. Then you can toggle some of these on. So in order to get it to autoplay, you have to have the video muted. So let's just mute the video. Then let's get it to autoplay. So then we might have this just on the screen moving, but then after that 11 seconds, it's going to stop. So then this actually works quite nicely in an actual loop. So let's just toggle this on. We'll just get it looping and we'll then actually turn the controls to none. So we'll just have this looping. It looks quite fun. Obviously, you don't have to do this for this type of video. You could then just have it as a regular video. The user goes and plays it, but this is just looping its way around. But in terms of then how you could use it and make your video on the page, this works really nicely if you're then wanting to also use it on mobile itself. So what you can do is then add the video block. You could then make it super wide so that it takes up the whole screen. Then you can come in and edit section and turn this off. So turn the fill screen off. So now I've got it going on here. So then you can nearly set the adjustments, just noting that it obviously has to follow this 16:9 like ratio. So then you've got this little gap at the bottom and here, but at the moment I've just set this to be dead in the center, but you could just put that at the top. But the reason we're doing it like this is because then on mobile, you then have a lot more control over the proportions. So what I can then do is do something like this. So then I've got the whole video. It's not then cropping. I can add another section. Below here, I could add some text. And I've got my video working really nicely on desktop and on mobile. Let me just show you that from the other perspective, which is if we were to upload the video, but just as a section. So uploading it here. Because I've already added it, I can just select from library and pull that in. So we've got this in here. With this video in this area, it needs to be less than 1 minute long in its length for it to then do the whole autoplay. So let's just do that. Here we go. But then you can see that, just go into here. So it's obviously running slow. That's the playback speed. So let's bring this back up to normal. But you can then see that it's lost some of the frames itself. So we can do a couple of things. The first is we could make the height and increase that. But then what it does have is if we come back to mobile, is then the height obviously becomes super massive like that. So then, and then you've lost the actual like width. So for some of this, it works quite nicely because with this, it's like dead in the center. But then the alternative is using the video block as we were showing, to then be able to do that. If you're wanting to do portrait as well, we'll leave a link at the bottom of the video description. So then you can learn how to do it in portrait, because if you're trying to then change this, then it's not quite so easy, but that is possible. So those are a few things as to how to use the video block and the tips and tricks behind it.